It's geeking time. Put that over like... Oh, sorry, let me put this present away. It is Christmas time in the Boomer the Nerd household. You just caught me wrapping some presents for the big day. Wrapping presents aside, I decided, you know what, maybe I'll take a little bit of time out of my wrapping presents schedule, and I figured I would do something a little fun. Next year when I come back, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my list of my favorite movies of 2023. I do that every single year, so that is not going to be missed. I will be doing that. But I felt like doing something very different this year, albeit not really a holiday video. I love comic books. I have a full playlist dedicated to just comic book hauls and stuff like that. And if you follow my channel through the years, one of the mainstays of my channel is comic books. Especially with this year, I have been heading over to a brand new comic book shop, and I've been very, very satisfied, very happy with the new shop I've been going to. And so I've been picking up a lot of comics and reading a lot of comics, but it got me thinking of 2023, of the books that I picked up this year. What are my favorite #1 issues that I picked up? So today I will be compiling my favorite comic book issues, #1 issues. We'll be going to the backdrop where it'll be a hands only. I'll be showing you the comic books. But not just that. I also thought to myself, what are my favorite retro comics that I picked up this year? Well, that I couldn't just pick one, so you'll see. So we're going to divide it into my favorite #1 issues of 2023, followed by my favorite retro issues that I picked up this year in 2023. All right, so in order to do so, let's take a little trip over to the comic book shop, and then let's make it down to my backdrop, where we will take a look at my picks for 2023. Let's go in. Before we get into the actual countdown and the honorable mentions, there's something I want to mention very quickly. Graphic novels. I love to read graphic novels. Now, these weren't released in 2023, but I got them in 2023. So I just want to mention very quickly 2 graphic novels that I absolutely am happy to have gotten this year. The first one being The Last Ronin trade paperback. This collects the miniseries The Last Ronin. What an amazing, amazing story, and I highly recommend this to anyone who's a Ninja Turtles fan. The artwork and the writing is stellar in this book. So again, it was released last year. However, I did pick it up this year, and I had such an amazing time reading it. And then the other graphic novel that I got, now this is an older one, and that one, well, it's 2 of them actually. Those being The Sandman, Preludes and Nocturnes, and The Doll's House. Generously provided to me by my friend Spoonie. And wow, that's all I have to say about Sandman. I finally got to read Sandman, and man, what a book. What a book. So I love to get those Dollarama, dollar store graphic novels, and I still like to buy collecteds, but of 2023, Last Ronin and Sandman were my favorite acquisitions when it comes to graphic novels. Let me move these off now, because before we get into counting down my favorite #1s, let's take a look at some honorable mentions that were released this year. None of these are new books. These are all facsimiles. So there was a lot of facsimiles that were released in 2023. And these are the ones that I picked up, and I just love them so much. So in particular order, we have the facsimile of the Invincible Iron Man #1, the big premiere issue. Gotta love that. Gotta love Iron Man. Great looking cover. Great iconic cover. Just shouts awesome. Then there was the reprint of The Incredible Hulk #180, which is the cameo of Wolverine. Then there's the facsimile of The Incredible Hulk #181, which is the reprinting of the first appearance of Wolverine. So having these 2 as facsimile, I don't have the original ones, but facsimile is second best to me in my opinion. rounded out with, yeah, this one's cool. The Omega Men #3 facsimile, which is the first appearance of the main man, Lobo, whom I've never really read anything about, but my friend Jay is a huge Lobo fan, so now I get to check this out. But I think the absolute coolest, besides the 2 Wolverine books and the Lobo facsimile, is this one here. There was a foil for a bunch of these. This one especially had a foil, but only got the regular, but I'm super excited. This is the facsimile of The Amazing Spider-Man #300. Yeah, reprinting the iconic issue #300 by Todd McFarlane. What an iconic cover. What an iconic issue. So honorable mentions right there go for the facsimiles. Like I said, these are not new, but they were all released this year. So those are the honorable mentions. And with these out of the way, let's get down into my core list. So this coming at number 12, I'm not considering this a number 1. I'm legitimately considering this, it's a two issue story. But because there's 2 issues, I'm considering it number one story, one long story. This is Spawn Unwanted Violence 1 and 2. Technically, this could have been done as a big one-shot or a big graphic novel, so that's why I'm literally considering it as one big story. Spawn teams up with the Freak to get some information, and at the same time, Spawn is taking a stand and is trying to avoid some unwanted violence. And it is written by Todd McFarlane. The artwork is by Mike Del Mundo, and it is some pretty beautiful artwork. I really like the artwork in this book a lot. It's kind of like a painting. So Spawn Unwanted Violence #1, #2 right here. And yeah, I gotta say, Spawn comics are pretty amazing these days. Well, amazing. The Spawn comics are pretty fantastic these days. I think we're seeing a resurgence in Spawn, which makes me very, very happy because Spawn, besides Spider-Man, is my all-time favorite superhero. So there you have it. Number 12, Spawn Unwanted Violence. So in at number 11, this is just fun. This is just a fun read. And I do believe that this came out pretty recently. There's some of them that came out recently, but hey, I've been catching up on some reading. So number 11 is Volume 2, Creepshow #1. Simply put, it's Creepshow. If you watch the show, if you know what Tales from the Crypt is, then you know what you're getting into. It's 2 stories in this book, both horror related, and it's a lot of fun. You've got Garth Ennis, who writes the first book, and Phil Hester, who writes the second one. So just some tales of macabre, only the way that Creepshow can do it. And of course, hosted by our favorite Creep. So Creepshow, Volume 2, issue #1. If you didn't have your chance to get a hold of Volume 1, well, Volume 2 is out, and I recommend it. I feel like I might get some people booing me on this one, but just hear me out. I read it. I had nothing to do, and I read it, and I don't know. I thought this was really awesome. And we've got Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy, issue #1. I don't know what it is. It just makes me feel, when I read this book, it just felt to me like a throwback to the old 90s comics. It was just really awesome, and there's a plot twist at the end that you're like, okay, all right. I've never really read too many Silver Surfer books. I don't know if this is the right book to start with, to be honest, but I always did think Silver Surfer is really damn cool. And I'm not going to lie, the artwork inside, well, first things first, yeah, we lost John Romita this year, so gotta pay tribute to JR. But even the artwork on the inside, Ron Lim does the pencils, so it does make me think of those old 90s comic books, and that's what I really like about this. And I don't know, it just brought me on a really fun adventure that when I picked it up and started reading it, I couldn't put it down. I didn't get issue #2 yet, but I think I'm going to have to catch up on some of this. So yeah, I'm super excited to see this character back because for the longest time, I've always been a fan of this character, and I'm not going to lie to you, I actually read this comic book recently, and this is probably one of the more recent books on this list. So we've got Hack Slash Back to School, written and illustrated by Zoe Thorgood, who does It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. We see Cassie, and this is literally in her early days. Not too much. I don't know too much yet what they're going with the story, but it's kind of got like that whole Strange Academy vibe to it, where she joins a school for slasher hunters, slasher hunters, killer, whatever they're called. But I've always loved Hack Slash, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little skeptic. I was like, okay, but this is a really good read. It's a really fun read, and if you do love Hack Slash, I'm highly recommending this book. I'd like to see where it goes next, because I think that Back to School has a really big potential as Hack Slash. Not gonna lie to you, often the Hack Slash runs to me are home runs. I didn't know what to think of this one. I heard a lot of good things about it in the group that I'm in, especially on Comic Book Corner 2.0. Heard a lot of good things about it. And when I dug into this book, holy moly, I enjoyed it. I've yet to catch up, but we've got Dawn of DC, Green Lantern, back on Earth, ready for action. Hal Jordan, yeah, my favorite Green Lantern. John Stewart comes in a close second, but this is a great book. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, Hal Jordan is back on Earth, and he's not sure what to do. And yeah, it's just really, really awesome. I would say that if you are a huge fan of Green Lantern, go pick this book up. It is worth it. It's awesome. And yeah, you've also got a side story of John Stewart, and I'd like to see more of where this is going too. So yeah, and a lot of the Dawn of DC books were actually pretty good this year. Picked up the Wonder Woman for my wife, but I am really intrigued in following the rest of this series. So yeah, highly recommend this one too. Okay, I'm just going to state it right off the bat. This is just awesome. Look at that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Usagi Yojimbo, #1, Where When. This is not the first time that these characters cross paths, but every time they cross paths, it's always super fun with an awesome wraparound cover, all done by Stan Sakai. It's really great. We have basically Usagi in feudal Japan and the Turtles in modern times. And the Turtles get transported back to the past. So, yeah. And it's all done by Stan Sakai, which is phenomenal. Love it. Love it. And this is a great series. I recommend. It's a mini series. I think there's only about 5 issues. But if you can get your hands on TMNT Usagi Yojimbo Where When, go for it. Oh my gosh, the hype around this book. And I gotta say, the hype is worth it. Predator versus Wolverine, #1. Wow, I didn't think that this is a concept that could work, but holy moly, this tells a story. Basically, we're setting the story in Canada, okay, in modern times. But you also have Wolverine reminiscing back to the 1900s when he first encountered the Yautja, the Predator. Holy moly, this first book is so action-packed and so awesome. You feel like you're inside of a Predator motion picture just when you read this thing. It is a bigger, thicker book. It's a mini series. But you know what though? My gosh, guys, this book is incredible. The artwork is awesome too. The storytelling is really great. Like I said, I didn't think that Wolverine and Predator would be 2 characters I wanted to see get together in a comic book and battle it out. But you know what? After this miniseries, I want to see more. I love The Last Ronin. I think it's one of the greatest comic book stories of the last 10 plus years. Of course, it's got a sequel, and I think I read online somewhere said that it's basically now, the TMNT version of The Dark Knight, which I believe to be true. So that being said, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, #1. Basically, we're following the new Turtles, technically, and we're also linking back to the lost years of The Last Ronin. before the story happens. Beautiful, beautiful story so far. Really great artwork. Kevin Eastman is on point with this book, and I think this would make any Turtle fan happy. I can guarantee you that when I picked this up and I read it, I had high hopes, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the high hopes kept on. So if you are a fan of The Last Ronin and you have yet to check out The Lost Years, I think it's collected now in trade paperback or hardcover. Grab it. It is wonderful. This is another book that I really did not know what to expect of it. Actually, there's three more books in this pile. You know what? The last four in this pile, I didn't know what to expect from them. So coming at number 4, this is Masters of the Universe: Forge of Destiny, written by Tim Seeley, who created Hackslash. I've always been a fan of Tim Seeley, so I was pleasantly surprised. I never got around to Masterverse, but when Forge of Destiny was placed onto my list at my shop, which I didn't ask for, but I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I'm glad that it's on my list. This is a cool book. And you got 2 warring kingdoms. And the way that the book leaves off, oh man, I have a feeling that we're in for He-Man's anti-counterpart. So yeah, really awesome book. The artwork is really good too. And Dark Horse Comics putting out a really cool Masters of the Universe book. I highly recommend checking this out. Also, if you're a Motu fan, it's something that'll keep you at the edge of your seat. Okay, if I can vote a book for the most shockingly amazing book of the year, I think this would be it. So in at number 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter #1. I heard so many people talking about this book. I saw the figures coming out before the comic was released, and I was like, all right, that's going to be a whatever crossover. Apparently, TMNT Stranger Things also was really good. I never get around to reading it because I have so many books on my plate to read. But I had to go with TMNT versus Street Fighter because I'm a huge fan of both these properties. Honestly, the Turtles fight the Street Fighter team, and it's just awesome. It's just cool. You're not sure in the first issue why they're there and why they're fighting each other, or why exactly Michelangelo has a crush on Chun-Li. But the artwork is awesome. The script is just so madly insane. I read the whole entire series, and I think this is I gotta say it right now, this is probably one of the best series of 2023. But as for #1 issue, there's still 2 others on my list that I find were a lot more amazing than this book. But yes, I highly recommend TMNT versus Street Fighter. If you're down for a good, fun time, this is it. Yeah, I really didn't know what to think of this book. I was dancing around it, and I picked up a second print because I kept dancing around it and wasn't sure. So this is Transformers #1. What an incredible first issue. Holy moly. This literally retells the story of Transformers because we're reintroduced to Spike and Sparkplug, and we're reintroduced to the Autobots, well, some of the Autobots and some of the Decepticons. And I will say there are some Autobots that become casualties of war. Read #1. This is a great book. The artwork might not be for everybody, as I'm not the biggest fan of the artwork in this book, but the story hooks you in and you don't want to put it down. I have yet to read issue #2 as of filming this video, but I tell you right now, I think by the time I get issue #2, 3 will be out as well. So I'm definitely going to be binging both those books. This is a return to form for Transformers, and I think us Transformers fans can rejoice because this is a comic book that we have been wanting. Okay. This book was released at the end of December of 2022. However, as a loophole, because the book is stated as February 2023, for me, technically, that counts as a 2023 book, especially with the fact that it was released at the exact end of December of 2022. So for me, this is technically a 2023 release, and it is my #1 pick for #1. It is a number one. It is a one-shot. This is Batman Spawn. Oh my, we all went crazy when this book came out. This one, I think Transformers before this one rivaled the amount of people going after different covers. Spawn, Batman Spawn number one. Wow. 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 That's all I got to say about this book. Todd McFarlane writing, Greg Capullo doing the illustration. The team that worked on Spawn back in the 90s and Greg Capullo, who knows Batman so well. These two are brought together by the Court of Owls. And yeah, it's a whole thing against the Court of Owls. And I think with the way that the book ends, I think that we might see another Batman Spawn in the future. So again, really fantastic book. I loved this book so much. I was hooked in the moment I started reading. And it's just the pure fact that it's Batman and Spawn together. Two of the greatest. I know I say all the time Spider-Man and Spawn are my favorites of all time. But right after that, I show love for Batman. And this book, I guarantee you, if you've yet to read this book, I don't know if you could still grab copies or not, but if you can, what a great book to read. I love this book so much that here, let me put this down. I myself not only picked up this issue, this cover that you see here, but I went and picked up two variant covers. A Virgin Greg Capullo cover and the Todd McFarlane cover. That's how much I was down for this book. And I just thought that Batman Spawn, I'm thinking of the original book, is the absolute best, in my opinion, number one comic book that was released in 2023. Let me wipe the slate clean because right now I'm going to go in and talk to you guys about my favorite old retro comic books that I've got in 2023. All right, that's back to being wiped clean so that I can show you guys off my 10. Okay, fair warning. It's going to be a little bit of a top 10 now, but this is not number one issue. So there might be multiples in here, which I'll talk about. I'm not going to take the time to take them out of the bag and board. So just bear with me. All right, so number 10, this was really awesome for me to re-find these books. And I was super excited to specifically find this one here. So coming at number 10 for my old books that I got this year that was happy to grab. This is Kirby Genesis number 1. And this is the connecting cover of Kirby Genesis. It's a beautiful cover that deserves being framed, which eventually I think I will frame this, which is why I bought another issue number 1 for my collection. But it's just such a stunning work of art, this connecting cover, that I bought one half of it and I was like, I gotta get the other half. So at number 10, this is one of the books that I was super happy to get in my collection. I picked up these two at the beginning of the year, and then towards the end of the year I got some more. And I plan on getting more, but I was really excited. Coming in at number 9, this is issue number 0. If they want to, there you go. Issue number 0 and issue number 1 of Steel. I'm not a huge fan of Superman, but Steel, however, is my absolute favorite when it comes to the Superman mythos. John Henry Irons is such a cool character. Very underrated. And Steel is such an awesome character. None of these have the first appearance of Steel. That's in a Superman comic book, but his first ongoing, when I found these, I was super excited that I couldn't say no to them. These are not really from the same line, but they're from the same series. So finding these really made me happy. So we've got Sin City, The Big Fat Kill, number 2. And then Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, number 6. This is one of the coolest comic books of all time. Yes, we all make the joke of Frank Miller being crazy these days. Ha ha ha. But Frank Miller did make a lot of iconic comic books. And Sin City is one of my absolute favorites from him. If not... Okay, I love The Dark Knight. That's probably my favorite by Frank Miller. But right after that... Well, no, Martha Washington. But after Martha Washington would be Sin City. These are just some really cool covers. And yeah, it's also... Sin City is also one of my favorite movies I've ever made. Just the fact that it's, you know, very crime noir. And that's what the appeal of these books are to me. So I've never really come across any of the old books. I'd still love to come across many of the older books from the other series of Sin City, from the other lines. But yeah, grabbing A Dame to Kill For, number 6, and The Big Fat Kill, number 2, this is awesome. Not all books on this list I bought myself. A couple of them, yeah, a few of them were given to me. So that being said, Tron, issue number 1. I'm going to be really honest with you. This was provided to me by Spoonie. It's again, he provided me another comic book. Wow, I did not know that there was a Tron comic book. I knew about the movies. I knew about Tron 2.0, the video game. I knew about a lot of the media, a lot of the video games, a lot of the action figures that were released, especially the NECA ones, but I never knew about the comic book. And when Spoonie sent me issues 1 to 3, this being my favorite cover of all of them, so that's why I'm just including this one, I was baffled. That and another one that he sent me that you'll probably see in a few moments. Tron number 1, I'm not sure if the book is good. I haven't cracked into it to read it, but this is such an iconic pose, and this is such an amazing cover that I could not thank him enough. This is one of the coolest comic books I got this year. We move a little bit into Grail territory here with this one, as I'm not really a fan of this company nowadays, this promotion, but I was back in the day. Back when I was younger, I was all about the Attitude Era. And some Grails on my list of comics to find are some of the books in the Chaos Comics line of WWF wrestlers. So when I found in Undertaker issue number 4 and Undertaker issue number 7, oh man, I could not say no to them. I found them. These are Grail, like the whole set is a Grail issue, along with Mankind, Kane, and I think there's even a Stone Cold Steve Austin line. So those are all Grail books for me, mainly Undertaker and Mankind. So I was like a giddy little school kid when I found Undertaker, these 2 issues of Undertaker. I was like, these are not staying here in the shop. These are coming home with me. Even when I showed my wife, she's like, that's freaking awesome. So yeah, they don't really make books like this anymore because the more recent WWF books, or WWE, sorry, is more about, the last time I read one was more about what's going on the show itself. This is more mystical powers and stuff, so this is awesome. But yeah, this Grail books, and if I can find more of this run, I will be more than happy to take them home with me. So we come to another book provided to me by Spoonie. And this is a number 1 issue from, again, from Slave Labors Graphics, who did Tron. This is Gargoyles number 1, and this too is also actually a Grail comic because I'd been searching for this one forever. I had issue number 3 for the longest time in my collection, but I never got number 1 or number 2. He provided me with number 1 and 2. I'm putting issue number 1 on here because that is the Grail that I've been searching for. So this, to me, is just one of the greatest comic books that I received. One of the greatest old comic books I received this year. What a cool piece to have in the collection. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the new Gargoyle series, and I don't know how good Slave Labor Graphics Gargoyles are, but I can tell you one thing. The SLG covers of Gargoyles are bonkers. A lot of the new covers, too, by DNA are really bonkers, too, but I really like these a lot more. Want to talk about something amazing? Seeing a cover like this and never thinking you'll ever find it, and then randomly walking into a comic book shop and seeing it for a very good price and picking it up. Well, that was just that for the Terminator number 1, the first Terminator issue of the Dark Horse series. God damn it. I love this movie franchise. Arnold Schwarzenegger is my favorite action star. And of course, yeah, when I saw this book on Free Comic Book Day, my jaw dropped down to the floor, and I was thinking of books to put back and what to grab, what not to grab, and this was never one that I contemplating putting back. What an amazing cover! What a cool book! What a cool franchise! What a cool character! It's an understatement for me to say that 2023 was the year of Boomer the Nerd and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I went turtle crazy this year on my channel, regaining stuff from my collection, collectibles and comics, and these two books were no exception. I contemplated which one to put on here, but at the end of the day, I was like, F it, both of them. Both of them, because they're older and they're from the original run. So we've got TMNT, Eastman and Laird's TMNT number 12, and then Eastman and Laird's TMNT number 18. I don't think there's really any significance to either of these books, but they are older TMNT books from the first run, so hell yeah, I gotta be excited about this. The shop I got them at, Check Swing, not Check Swing, sorry, it's my shop, Menard, that I got these at. They have a wall full of old TMNT books from the first run, so you bet your ass that I'm probably gonna at some point go back and take a look at what they have and maybe get myself a nice birthday present. But nonetheless, as a collector and as a hunter for comic books and never seeing any old TMNT books from the first run, this is a true dream come true for me. I couldn't not pass up on either of these books, so I'm really excited to have these in my collection now. Thank you to my friend Jay for sending me this box. This box that you can see on my channel, which was a really awesome big old box he sent me with a lot of figures and a lot of comics, a lot of Grail stuff in there for me. One of them, look, don't get me wrong, I love the Kiss books he sent me, and I love a lot of the rock and roll comics he sent me. But one of them really stood out above the rest to me, and that was this book here, Lady Death, Lost Souls. The reason why is because this book is signed by Brian Pulido, the creator of Lady Death, with a COA on the back right there for Lady Death for the signature. So I was just stunned completely when I pulled that out of the box of stuff that he sent me, coupled with the fact that I absolutely love Lady Death. She is one of the most underrated yet iconic comic book femme fatale characters, and it's a cool cover too. And the fact, like I said, the fact that Brian Pulido signed the book and there's a COA, this just, oh man, this is just something that another book that I'm going to have to get framed. I'm not sure if I might, if I can, maybe one day I'll grade it, but this is a book that I definitely want to frame and put up on the wall. Again, thank you so much, Jay, for this wonderful comic. And this is not just one book, not two books, but multiple. I think there's 6 of them in here to where I'm looking at. This year, well, the second half of this year, I started a journey that I completed the last month. In November, I would say, I completed my journey. On Free Comic Book Day in May 2023, I found old Conan the Barbarian books at Check Swing. 6 of them, to be specific. And they were all pretty pricey books. And I couldn't leave with all of them at once because, like I said, they were pretty pricey because they're old Conan books. And a lot of times, old Conan books, regardless of if it's key or not, they tend to go for a little higher of a price. So I did not leave with all of them at once. Little by little, I think over a course of 4 or 5 videos, you saw me showing off some Conan books. My absolute favorite old pickup of 2023 are my Conan the Barbarian books. Issue number 47. Great cover. Issue number 50. Issue number 66. Issue number 72. Issue number 77. And finally, ending on a John Buscema cover with issue number 78. I don't know what to say. I don't come across many Conan books, especially in my area. I did mention that once in a video. So when I did come across all these old Marvel comics, Conan the Barbarians at Check Swing, I had to put them all aside because each book was about $15. I couldn't leave with all of them. That's too much for me to do in one shot. So little by little, I bought one. Then the next, I bought 2. Then I bought 2. And then I finished off my journey, not in the last haul, but the haul before that. So these are really cool, really awesome. And I was thinking to myself, what Conan book do I put on here? Because I'm so proud. But I thought to myself, F it, Boomer, you're happy with all of them. So, my absolute favorite retro comic book pickup of 2023 is my Conan the Barbarian Journey from Marvel Comics. All right, guys, let's leave this comic book shop and let's throw out. And let's show you guys what I got in the bag. Later, guys. Have a good day. This wrapping paper anymore? Oh, you guys are back. Good. Well, there you go. That is my entire favorites for 2023. What did you guys think? I know. My list is not something that you guys can look at and say, hey, you didn't mention all the comic books of 2023. The thing is, I don't buy every single comic book that comes out. There is a wonderful channel called Comic Book Corner 2.0. He buys pretty much every single release of the week. So if you want to see his take on some of the best, especially covers, go check that out. I can link them down below. But as I said, these are my favorite number ones that I purchased in my over the year. And again, those old retro comics, you gotta love the retro comics. So, but I ask you guys, this is my favorite comic books of 2023, my number ones. However, what are your favorite issue number ones of 2023? What are your favorite comic books in general of 2023? The reason why I didn't go into favorite comic book series and more just number one is because I thought to myself, hey, there was quite a few number one issues that were released this year, or my favorites of those. So what are yours? What are some of your favorite number one issues that came out this year? What are, like I said, what are your favorite ongoings that you kept reading for the year? And what are some of your books that you're looking forward to into 2024? All right, so as I mentioned, I will be back in 2024 with my countdown list of my favorite movies of 2023. That'll probably be my first video back. After that, I'll do my holiday haul like I always do. I got one more video for the holidays, so stick around for that one on Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun, that video. It's another one of those videos that's going to take us back to some nostalgic Christmas past. Thank you for sticking around and watching this video of mine. This is a little different. I don't usually do a comic book countdown on my channel. I did one a long time ago of some of my favorite old covers I had in my collection, but that was like in the early days of my channel. So here we are now, and I'm doing my favorite. Let me know if you like this. Let me know. Maybe I'll do this again next year if you really did enjoy this. And if you did enjoy this, I mean, look, I appreciate it. You guys watch all my videos whenever I put them up, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys watch my videos. And like I said, every time, I could not do this without any of you guys. No, my channel wouldn't be able to grow without any of you. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys that are already a friend of the channel, a supporter of the channel, and subscribe to my channel. That being said, if you're brand new and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please and thank you, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell to be notified. If you want, drop a like on my video and comment as well. This is a positive YouTube channel where I don't really like to do anything negative. I like to see the positive in things, and I'm always excited about everything that comes my way and that I get to show off for you guys, a review for you guys. So positivity and happiness is the theme when it comes to this nerdy channel. Well, as you saw in my intro, I still got some more presents to go and wrap, so let me go do that before it's too late, because we're getting very close to the big day. I'll see you guys all again in the next video. Stay cool, stay nerdy, keep hunting, keep collecting, and as always, it's cool if it's nerd cool. Happy holidays.